Well, it happened again. The stream, for
Look,
whatever reason,
it's Mother.
decided
She was here.
to
She saw
play.
every step we took before we took it. Like she was always with us.
Yep.
Watching over us. Leading us home. Let's finish it.
Well, as I was saying, it happened. The stream, for whatever reason, decided to play fuck you yet again, and literally cut off the stream right when we were at the cutscene after delivering the Mother's Ashes. And considering how streams like to cut randomly, especially in the middle of a scene, and like chop off like 20 seconds worth of it, and since the game allows me to pause and restart even in the midst of them, I figured I might as well restart and do this all over again. Hopefully without getting interrupted again, because that's bullshit. But yeah, as I was saying in the previous part, apparently all the giants are dead, have been dead, probably Lord knows for how long. Yeah. And, yeah, that was not only a prophecy and a monument, this is all a gravesite. And that just makes me want to kill off Odin and the rest of his gang more so. Do this again.
Father?
No. We do it together. Son.
Yeah, right when Atreus was about to make some kind of revelation from the mural, it went and cut off. That pisses me off. Do this again. All the giants murdered. Dead and murdered. Oh, they're gonna pay.
The giants. They really are all gone.
Yup.
There's nothing for us here.
Come.
Now back to what we was gonna get.
I get that Mother was a giant. Which makes me part giant and part god.
And part mortal.
Right. I guess there's just one thing I don't understand. My name on the wall. The giants called me... Loki?
The god of mischief?
Loki.
What?
That's the name your mother wanted for you when you were born. She must have called you that to her people.
But why?
A question for another day. Let us go home.
Atreus is Loki. Mother's Ashes complete. Last Wish trophy. Return to Tyr's temple. Atreus is Loki in this universe. Oh my god.
I guess it all makes sense now. Why she want to end up here? Be with her kind? But did she know it was going to be like this here? Is this what she wanted us to see? Did she want us to tell the people, or keep it a secret?
I do not know.
So what should we do?
I trust you to decide that.
Oh.
Huh. Well, it does kind of make sense. So Loki is like one of the chief gods that ended up causing Ragnarok.
Why'd you want to name me Atreus? I know it can't be for a god.
No. He was a soldier. A Spartan.
A great warrior?
All Spartans are great warriors. We trained from birth. Our lives were discipline, duty, battle, and death. Life was grim, and we greeted it grimly. But Atreus of Sparta was unlike the rest of us. He wore a smile even in the worst of times. He was happy. He inspired us to hope that though we were machines of war, yet there was humanity in us. Goodness. When the day came for him to lay down his life in battle, his sacrifice saved countless others and turned the tide in our favor. I carried him home on his shield and buried him with all the honors of Spartan custom. His memory was a comfort in dark times.
Wow, you actually told a good story. Lumir missed it.
So that's behind the name Atreus. A Spartan from Kratos' younger days. That's cool. It's like his connection to his homeland that way. I don't know if he... I think there was an actual Atreus figure, but I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's somebody else. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But that's cool, though. He's really Loki. That's gonna be quite... That's quite the revelation. Yeah, because Loki in the myth, I believe in the myth, was like the son of a giant. I don't think he was technically...
I understand if you want to go home.
Hello.
Maybe helping people was part of why Mom sent us out here, too. I mean, what would Atreus of Sparta do?
And what would Loki do?
Huh. That's a weird name. I'm glad we went with yours.
Well, you're not going to be played by Tom Hiddleston in the future. That I can tell.
Lads, am I glad to see you. I believe I've reached my limit for dwarven charm.
What happened, Mimir?
They took an uncomfortable number of measurements and then proceeded to bicker about the weather.
Where do you want us to take you?
How about the warm confines of anywhere bloody else?
Oh, got it. Explore with Atreus. Complete dwarven treasures, free dragons. Strong equipment. Allowed to defeat the 9 legendary corrupt. I did all this already. The only thing left is finding the buried treasures, which I can do by myself at any other time. No. I'm trying to finish the game here. I'm about done. And I still got a review to do, so hold your horses. No respect. Interrupting my stream. No respect. It's a crime, I tell you. Yeah, I did all the shit already before the game ended. You know, that's something about modern gaming that actually kind of, well, okay, not kind of, completely pisses me off. Whatever happened to having games, you know, just be a straightforward beginning, middle, and end? You know, rising action, falling action, denouement. Why do we have to put up with this post-game crap?
Before we return to Midgard, I should warn you. More time has passed than you might realize. The snowfall that beastly boulder, it's become something else. The stuff of omens.
What?
For the coming of winter.
Not just any winter. The great winter to span 3 summers. And when it's done, Ragnarok begins.
Uh-oh.
Ragnarok. From snow.
Aye, snow. Lots more snow. And then the end of the bloody world. In that approximate order.
Another prophecy.
No, brother. Prophecy doesn't expect this for 100 more winters at least. You've changed something.
We sped
Prophecy
it up.
didn't count on you.
We sped it up, didn't we?
I'm telling you, it's Fimbulwinter. I can feel it in my scrote. This is the big one.
Stop saying that. Oh, you're making me very nervous. It was bound to snow sooner or later.
That ain't just snow, and you know it. It's the end times.
How dare you make me the voice of reason?
Guys,
Just discussing the weather. Bit of a cold snap lately.
What he means is, Fimbulwinter's upon us, boys. The winter to end all winters. I can feel it in my scrote.
Yeah. We heard.
So, if you're heading home, try to keep moving. And also, to not die.
Or if you're not heading home, same advice. Let's get you squared away, then.
Light Blade Runic. Upgrades that we don't even need anymore because I beat the whole game. Ah, Rage of the Titans. Not that it matters.
Yeah, check back soon.
I freed all the dragons, I beat all the Valkyries, there's nothing left, honestly. I did Muspelheim, I did Niflheim, I did everything. Ugh, the winter. Aw, Jormungandr's not here. Yeah, the only thing left to do is the treasures and the birds, but I can do that whenever. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I want to row back and see what's become of
Wait for me.
Thamur's grave, and then head to Freya, and then head back home. Just
If I'm not
because.
mistaken, we've yet to discuss the tale of the giant Bergelmir.
Oh, yeah. I remember his run. It looked happier than the other ones. Mostly.
It begins in an ocean of blood.
Finally, a story worth hearing.
If you remember, Ymir, the first giant, was fatally stabbed by Odin. It's in his blood our story starts. Ymir's magical guts poured out in a torrent so violent it threatened to flood all of creation. The Jotnar were unprepared, as the very last of them were washed away in the endless tide. Not just Ymir, but all of giant kind faced extinction. And so would Odin's victory have been complete. But Ymir's kind did not all perish that day. Staying afloat in the hollowed husk of a tree, the frost giant Bergelmir endured, as did his lady wife. For weeks they sailed, until finally they came upon a new land. They called it Jotunheim. And there they would start anew.
Yeah, now they're
As
dead.
father and mother, they would multiply exceedingly, and as king and queen, they worked to make Jotunheim a land where giants would know no master but themselves. Bergelmir never sought revenge for Odin's slaughter. His vengeance was to live and prosper. He died at peace, a legion of his kin to mourn him. He would ever be known as Bergelmir the Beloved.
Bergelmir the Beloved.
Bergelmir, a giant king with many children. Look, you're right, dead but not murdered. Belgelmir and his queen survived the flood of Emir's blood and founded Jotunheim. They did not seek revenge except to live and see his kind prosper. Bergelmir the Beloved, a happy ending.
Huh. I've never heard a story end that way. Not a true one, anyway.
You do, laddie.
You know, what better vengeance is there than to live well in the face of your enemies? Well, it's definitely frosted over for the most part. Yep. Back here. I want to see if anything happens. Then head home.
The tower ate the Unity Stone.
Yes, that's a terrible pity. Brothers, there's another thing I must let you know. From the time you were away in Jotunheim.
Well, tell us then.
It concerns Freya. She paid me a visit.
What did you tell her?
What little I know about where Odin may have kept her Valkyrie wings. Seems she's rather bent on reclaiming her warrior spirit. I'm afraid the cycle of vengeance may not be so easily broken.
Yeah, she wants to come and fight. She wants to fight Kratos. That's what it's looking like. While we were in Jotunheim, Freya found Ramir to ask where Odin might have kept her warrior spirit. That's a little scary. Yup. She's serious. I heard that there's a secret ending at the end at the house, back at the house, so I'm gonna head back there.
So how was your trip to Jotunheim?
Will you give them a little privacy? The kid just found out he's a giant. He doesn't need you interrogating him.
Brock, you knew?
Oh, we knew Faye was the last guardian of the Jotnar left in Midgard. That's why we made her the axe. We hoped it could restore the balance of power.
After Thor went all berserk with our hammer.
Though in the end it seems she chose another path. She chose, well, you. Both of you. I suppose she figured that was the best chance for the giants to live on. And now, I suppose, that's up to you.
How about that? A young Jotun with us the whole time. And the son of Laufey, the just... I should have seen it before.
Laufey. So that's her real name. Laufey. Faye was just shorthand, her nickname. Interesting. Yeah, it's all wintered again. Aw, no Jormungandr anywhere. He slithered off somewhere.
Don't you have any more stories to tell, Mimir?
I'm talked out, lad. But someday I imagine I'll be telling your story.
She's probably not there, but I want to check anyway.
Mimir, what did you call Mother? Laufey the Just? Did you know her?
I never had the pleasure.
Aw.
Laufey was a rumour in the halls of Asgard. A giantess warrior who thwarted many an Aesir god's plans. Freeing those who they would enslave, feeding those who they would starve, generally making a nuisance of herself in the most noble of ways. Thor was terribly frustrated he could never find her to fight. Once my imprisonment began, I could only wonder what became of her, and who she would turn out to be. Yours is quite a singular lineage, lad.
Laufey the Just. Mom was Laufey the Just. She really was protecting people before she had me. They even knew her. They even knew of her in Asgard. I'm so proud of her. And just in time for Mother's Day, too.
Is it a good idea coming back here?
She's probably in there planning your demise, brother.
Or bringing Baldur back to life? Like she did you, Mimir.
Oh, I'm not alive, lad. I'm reanimated, sure. But make no mistake, I'm still quite dead. I'll never be what I once was. She won't want this for her son. Trust me.
That's a relief. Not the part about you being dead, but, you know.
So, I guess he's perpetually gonna remain ahead, huh? Yep, we can't go back in. Cannot visit Laufey. Freya, excuse me. That's funny. A day before Mother's Day, and, well, technically it's Mother's Day now since it's 12:05, but still, right on time. Whole thing of mothers and motherhood. And fatherhood, technically. Yeah, we're definitely going to be fighting Freya in the next game. I just hope we don't actually, you know, kill her. 'Cause that would suck. We go to the mountain, maybe get his body back. Oh wait, I thought I saw. Nah, it's just the particle effects. Okay. Poor Mimir. It looks like we can't get his body back from the tree. I think it's stuck there permanently. Poor man's gonna have to remain ahead for the rest of his days. Well, nothing to do now, but go back home and get the secret ending. Yeah, I beat the Valkyries, I beat Muspelheim, Niflheim. There's nothing else to do except for the treasures and the Odin Ravens, which, honestly, I can do that in my spare time. Without really needing to stream anything. Yeah, I did every essential story-ish moment. And we're home.
We're finally home. Feels like a lifetime ago.
Bit drafty, maybe, but it's a right improvement over having tree bark in your tadger.
Home sweet home.
Time to rest.
I'm gonna sleep through winter.
So what's the secret ending?
Okay, this'll do.
Sleep.
Way ahead of you.
Oh, he's gonna sleep on top of the Blades of Chaos. Years later.
Who's that?
The ball.
Well, Atreus is still the same height he was. Uh-oh. Is that who I think it is? Mjolnir. It's Thor. Oh, no. It was Thor. Wow. If that isn't a cliffhanger, I don't know what is. Sequel bait of probably the best kind. Well. Oh, the epic music. I love the theme to this game, I really do. It stands heads and tails alongside the previous game's themes. Turn it down so I can hear what I'm saying. Well, that was it. That was God of War 4. And all its Norse glory. Well, having played the game from head to toe, how do I ultimately think of it? Especially as a hardcore God of War fan, for as long as I can remember. Sans Ascension, since, honestly, I didn't really care for that one. I really like it. I'm borderline whether or not I love it like I do the previous games. But from what is there is definitely worth praise. The graphics and lighting are beautiful. Definitely, at least to some extent, next gen for the kind of game it is. And you know me, I'm a tough critic when it comes to what I conceive as next gen. But yeah, the visuals in this game are beautiful. Midgard, Alheim, Helheim, the way Kratos and his weapons look, everything looks top tier, visually orgasmic. And the lighting certainly helps too. This is a beautiful game to look at. And sound effect wise, it is definitely great too. The music, oh my god, this is definitely a soundtrack for the ages. Although surprisingly, out of all the God of War games I've played, this one was actually surprisingly minimalistic in the music department. They only play music in certain parts, and in other parts, every now and then, there will be a few battle themes and then a couple of atmospheric tunes. But compared to previous God of War games, which had music pretty much everywhere you went, this one was surprisingly minimalistic. which kind of sets the tone for it for a much more somber game, honestly. Now, as for the gameplay, I was pretty worried with where they were going with the gameplay, with how they went for that up-close, third-person, over-the-shoulder view, and going for the Dark Souls Bloodborne approach with the combat, and how the story seemed to be going the way of Last of Us, and that's where I'm a little iffy. I'm not sure if it's a good idea for this game to be taking cues from games like Last of Us, because I'm going to be honest, I personally think that game's a little overrated. I mean, I watched a playthrough and stuff, so I've seen how that game operates and how the story went. So I'm a little iffy in regards to that, but from what they do in regards to here, I honestly like it. I like more of what I saw here than I ever did in that game. And as far as the game is concerned, this is probably something that I think a lot of God of War players like me will be somewhere in the middle of. As one who is not a big fan of the Souls format, it was a little challenging, I admit. There were parts in the gameplay where I definitely struggled compared to how I was in the original God of War games. With the old God of War games, they weren't the hardest games in the world, unless you played on the hardest difficulty. They were very straightforward and traditional in terms of their gameplay, and one would say easier than most. Especially easier than Devil May Cry, or for that matter, Ninja Gaiden, but they were still very fun games, and you could pretty much pick up and play them. This game, not so much. I actually had a lot of difficulty adjusting, especially with attacks that were and moves that were a lot more fidgety to master than I ever would have imagined. And it's even on normal difficulty, it is very difficult at times. Not helped by the fact that they actually went with a light RPG element with the armor system and weapon system, which is pretty much how Kratos levels up in the game. The better armor and weapons and power-ups you find, the better Kratos becomes. And it was a bit of a struggle, but by the end, I was actually way more powerful. And sans the Valkyries, I was overpowering pretty much every other regular enemy in the game. Baldur was child's play by the end of it. The Valkyries were the greater challenge, and even enemies that I was running into, like the werewolves or wolvers. The Dark Elves are the worst enemy in the game by far. The wolvers I got used to after a while. And the challenges especially were hard. And Muspelheim and Niflheim was a bit of a grind. But yeah, once I got used to the gameplay, I definitely had more fun with it. I think they could fiddle around with it a bit more in the next game. Perhaps take the camera out a bit, give more room so it's not so up close to Kratos, because honestly, I don't like that it's super close to Kratos, because it means that I can't see where everything is, like in the old games. Even Ninja Gaiden had enough room to see where everything was, or at least enough to gauge where every other enemy was, because that little radar around Kratos' waist, it was barely helpful most of the time. But even so, despite the camera change and the button change, the gameplay to an extent does feel like God of War in terms of how weighty everything is, the brutality of the attacks. And much to my delight, the game is actually very light on QuickTime events, more so than previous games. There was none of that stupid joystick turning or twitching or any of that. It was just either button mash or hit the button at the right time. So the game really emphasized the actual beat up and hack and slash more than usual, and toned down the quick times. And honestly, that's how it should be. I'll be honest, even as a mega fan of the God of War games of the past, there were times where even I despised the quick time events, namely the joystick ones, and how some buttons kind of had to be pressed so many times till your thumb got tired, and thankfully they restrained that mercifully. So as far as quick time events are in the games from now on are concerned, there you go. This is the best. This is the most balanced it's ever been. And the whole stun and the whole stun and attack system is also very cool too. You don't have to just damage your opponents straight up. You can weaken them and make them open for a quick time attack, which further damages them even more. So it's a interesting dynamic. And Atreus was pretty cool too. He was very useful. Fuck Last of Us. Who needs Ellie when you can have this kid? He has a bow and magic. He's 1,000 times more useful. At least he actually contributes to the actual game. Hell, as far as games with AI characters are concerned, he's the best one. Unless you count the Republic Commandos in Star Wars Republic Commando, who actually do stuff. I'm reviewing a game, Dad. Give me 5 minutes. And, yeah. So, yeah. Kratos plays very well, even if it does take getting used to, and there are some things I would adjust. Atreus was actually surprisingly good. Honestly, he's the best, other than the Republic Commandos from Star Wars. He's actually probably the best AI squad mate I've seen in a while. And it's definitely not as linear a game as the previous games. There's a lot of places to go. It does annoy me having to go back and forth to different areas, but for what it is, it's fine. And even then, there's a bunch of stuff to do. The enemies are all pretty varied and are very fun, for the most part, and are pretty fun to fight. I loved fighting them. And even then, there were some that are stupid hard, like the Valkyries. That was definitely a chore to fight at times, but by the end of the day, I did feel accomplished getting all of them. And I was doubly surprised and delighted when we got the Blades of Chaos back. Kratos recovered them and brought them back, so yeah, we don't just get the axe. I'm happy we actually got the Blades of Chaos in as well. That made me happy. However, I will admit, I do think the enemy variety is kind of mediocre. I think they could have done a bit more. Most of them are Draugrs and Reavers and Revenants, and eventually werewolves and those cat snake burrowing things. I do think, in terms of, and the trolls were nice, but in the ogres too. But after a while, you pretty much know the same. It's the same song and dance. You get used to it. Where I think the game really suffered in terms of the enemy variety was in boss fights, legitimate boss fights, not counting the Valkyries. I think they could have done more. I mean, we had Baldur, who we fought 2 times, not counting the middle segment on the dragon, which is more of a glorified quick-time event than an actual fight. We only fought the one dragon in the mountain, and, oh yeah, and Magni and Modi, we fought both of them, killed one of them in the actual battle, and Atreus finished off Modi later on. And that was a good fight, very clever one, I liked it. So yeah, not counting the Valkyries and the trolls, that's like, what, 3 boss fights? 3 or 4? Yeah, they really could have done more, in my opinion, and I hope that with God of War 5 and maybe 6, depending on how long the story goes, that they pull a God of War 2 and ramp up the boss fights, because they really needed more. It kind of, and funny enough, This kind of reminds me of God of War 1 in this respect, because in God of War 1 you only had like what, 4 boss fights. In this game it's like 3 or 4 at the minimum. So hopefully with the next one they'll kind of repeat history and bring their A game, because I think they really needed to step up the enemy variety in this one. Hopefully in the next one. And then again, we are supposedly going to fight Thor, meaning we'll fight more Aesir gods and more monsters. Oh, and Jormungandr was awesome. I loved him. I hope we do more with him too. And I liked how with the final battle with Baldur, they pretty much took the scrapped idea of fighting both Gaia and Zeus at the same time and weaved that in there by having Freya desecrate Thamur's grave. Now, as for the story and characters, honestly, the more I think about it, I really like the story for God of War 4. It is very simple in that you have to go to Jotunheim in order to set the ashes of Kratos' second wife, Faye. But, of course, being God of War, nothing's ever so simple. Not completely. And you got this whole conspiracy with the Aesir, Ragnarok coming, and how the mother turned out to be more important than we thought, and that she was key to the whole thing. And apparently, in this universe, Atreus is actually Loki. So we just opened up the whole big can of worms. It went from one simple journey to pretty much lighting the fuse for the inevitable dynamite of Ragnarok. So yeah, I really liked it, and going through and also this was probably the most puzzle-heavy God of War game in a while, at least to my recollection. I mean, yeah, there's always been puzzles, but this one was littered throughout, not just for main areas, but for side areas too. And they were fun. I liked them. I would say the puzzles in the God of War games have always been pretty fun. I like them. And the characters, oh, what can I say? I love Kratos in this game. Some may decry him as being too tame compared to the other ones, but honestly, I like where they went with him. The man has been through a lot. He's cursed to be immortal. And he's killed off the Olympians. Greece is wiped off the map for the foreseeable future, at least in this time period. So, killing most of the Olympians, it makes sense that Kratos, and having made peace with his past sins, it makes sense for Kratos to be all somber and forlorn, like he does not want to do this shit anymore. He just wants to live in peace for the rest, for however long it is. And the whole relationship with his son Atreus was very cool too, and very well written. I was surprised at how well written it was, honestly. Of course, they're not the only two characters. I liked Freya, who, at this point, I'm going to theorize will be an antagonist in the next game, who I hope we don't kill, because that would suck. The dwarves, Sindri, and Brock were hilarious. Brock especially. And Mimir, he's definitely the third main character when you think about it, unless you count Freya and the dwarves. And he is hilarious too. I loved the back and forth banter between Kratos, Atreus, and him too, and the stories that they exchange. So yeah, I definitely do like where they went with Kratos in this game. It was definitely a good move to, I wouldn't say ground and humanize, but at the very least add evolution to his character after he's still the deep down the rage happy Kratos we all know and love, but at the same time, it makes sense that they would want to have him, down to earth after all he's been to. It's like, hey, I killed my father, I killed the pantheon of my homeland. You don't want to do any of what I've done, beat everyone, because I've been, what you're doing doesn't lead anywhere pleasant. So yeah, overall, this is definitely a AAA game done right. It does have some things where I'm a little about. Like I mentioned, they could tweak the gameplay a bit more. Definitely add in more boss fights and enemy variety in the next game. I wonder if we will team up with the Valkyrie. Recruit them. That would be cool, though. Well, then again, they may go to Freya first, but we freed them, so who knows? And they may not have any feelings for Odin after what we did. Compliance services. Really? Do we need this? So, yeah, while I definitely did metaphorically bash my head against a wall for how hard the game was at times, and having to go, strengthen myself up and come back, it was definitely a challenging and, in the end, fun game, and rewarding game for the most part. Hey, I can definitely see myself playing it again, that's for sure. Especially when there was a bunch of stuff that, well, I pretty much got almost everything. Like, yeah, in the other games you could find everything. Although, mostly for all the chests there were, it's like once you found all the health and power upgrades, there was you didn't really need to find any more of them. Same with this game. I mean, the only thing left to do is just find the treasure spots. Get the trophy for that. Find all the ravens, get the trophy for that. And a few, I think one or two other things, and that's pretty much it. Whew. What a game. Not perfection, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't like that. No game is perfect. Let's just be reasonable here. Is God of War 4 excellent and high quality? Absolutely. Do I think it's perfect? No, not with all the reasons I just listed. But it's definitely better than what I thought it would be. And while I did rage at several points in the game, it's still one of those games that is rewarding at the end. Reviewing, sort of, kind of. Don't you hate it when they do that? I hate it when they do that. Yeah, what little there is now on Toonami. The only thing playing now is My Hero Academia. At least episodes I've already seen. I gotta catch up on that one, by the way. Oh my god, can the credits go any slower? I've really got nothing to say, honestly. But yeah, as far as rating is concerned, if you're a fan of the God of War games, I say try it out. It's not perfect, but it's definitely worth it. And I definitely look forward to seeing where Sony Santa Monica goes from here on out. They just need to touch up on the things that I mentioned, and I think for the most part we should be good. I hope Kratos doesn't die. I really hope he does not die. I hope he and Atreus go on and make more adventures. Like Egypt. I would love to see that. Hell, definitely Egypt. That's probably the next best one. You can go down south and take on that pantheon. Japan, I don't know. It's kind of a stretch, honestly. Same with the Maya and Aztecs. I don't know if I really see the series ever going there. Egypt, most likely. I would imagine Set would be the main antagonist god in an Egyptian Set God of War game. Because he's the god that's out to get everybody in that mythology. And of course, Apophis, the giant evil doomsday snake. That would be quite the boss fight. Basically, Apophis is basically to Egypt what Jormungandr is to Norse mythology. Only a lot more evil. Oh, and another thing I mentioned, yeah, definitely, not just an enemy and boss variety, but also weapon variety. I really think they need to bring in more weapons. Like, I can already imagine Kratos getting Mjolnir upon beating Thor. That's probably a given. And I hope that happens. But yeah, we got Leviathan, the Blades of Chaos back, and I can already predict Mjolnir getting in our possession, so yeah, definitely more weapons next time, too. I mean, God of War 1 only had, like, 2 weapons, the Blades of Chaos and the Artemis Blade, but then went bigger in the games afterwards, so they could definitely do more weapon-wise. Not a whole lot, but enough to at least vary it up a bit more. I'm also not a big fan of how the upgrade system was in this game. I mean, once I got the moves, I unlocked them. Why there has to be this runic health requirement for all the other ones, I honestly did not like that. Like, come on. I unlocked them and everything. I should be able to use them. And considering the up and down nature of the level up system with the armor and weapons, it just feels like it feels a tad bit like God of War Ascension in that regard, which is honestly the last I'm finishing, which is the last thing I want to be reminded of. Because honestly, if I unlock a move with my hard-earned experience points, I should be able to use that move, god damn it. Not have to be not have to painstakingly over-level myself to the point where then I'll be able to use any of it. But yeah, I don't like that, because in God of War Ascension you had to either be a certain point in combat where you couldn't, where you were only able to use certain moves. In this game, they didn't do that, but instead they replaced it with, oh, you have to have your health and runic thing to this level in order to do it, even though you unlocked it already, which to me is bullshit. Ugh. Yeah, that's the only other thing I can critique. Oh, and thank you, Lord, Sony Santa Monica, for not doing what Level 5 did and putting in a stupid code to block any story bits of the whole game from getting blocked from being streamable, because that annoyed me. The less developers that do that pull this stunt, the better. The music. I love the music. Definitely looking forward to see what they do in the next game. Oh my god, the credits are still going. They're still going. Fuck it. Present day.
Atreus, are you ready?
Yeah, but I had the weirdest dream. Fimbulwinter was ending, and Thor came for us. Here at the house.
It was only a dream.
But it felt different. It felt real.
Yeah.
It felt like the future.
Then we will worry about it tomorrow. Today, there are still things we can do. Come.
Yeah, the only things that can be done are... Oh, we did all the favors. Yeah, the only thing to do is just, Oh, there's a mystic gateway out here I never found. Apparently. Legendary chest over there that I never found either. So yeah, there's still... I still need to find the last of the treasure chests. And the ravens. Whether or not I'll be able to do... the ravens, I'm not sure I'll be able to do. Because there's parts of the game that I honestly cannot access ever again. I tried to go through this area to go to the front of Freya's house. I couldn't figure that out. Because there's a spot where Kratos is supposed to lift a boulder up. He wouldn't do it. Instead, it was tied down by vines or something. And there was even a Hellwind puzzle there, too. I'm not sure if it unlocked yet. And honestly, even if I could... I don't want to, because it's a long walk going from here to there, even at sprinting speed. So likely I'll just worry about the chests and the ravens for the foreseeable future and not bother with anything else. Yeah, that requirement thing here, like, yeah, that is stupid, honestly. There's no need for that. Why would you do that? Like,